Uh-huh. Is this the right place? It's always interesting. Share in my group. Share to my group. What is my group called? This one. In my life. Let's have a look. Shall we get it? I got it. Boom, boom, boom. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, I am live. That is awesome. I love it when a plan comes together. This is very strange. All right, let's go to Zoom. Oh, yes. Now I can see myself in real time, not in delayed time. So that makes it a bit easier. Hello, everybody, and welcome to day one of Activate and Amplify Your Purpose. And today's workshop, day one workshop, is really around creating confidence in your energy so that you can attract your soul-aligned clients, your favorite clients, the clients that you're meant to work with, the clients that you're meant to grow with. But it's really about getting sales into your business straight away. So this is for people that have a level of experience, that have been on the journey, that have done their own work, right? Not just in their own lives, but with other people, and are really ready to take it to the next step. So one thing that I've noticed with especially spiritual entrepreneurs like myself, or anyone that's stepped out of a kind of corporate life into this business, is those of us that are rebels, that are mavericks, that are born with a purpose, that have trauma, that have had to really fight for what they have right now, right? So, I was I'll go into a little bit about my story later, but you really want to be able to participate, because here's what happens. If you have resentment for the current systems, and you don't understand your message, you don't understand who you're here to serve, you don't have clarity in your offer, and you're not smart, you're not wise, what often happens is you just keep operating this pattern of survival, but you're not here to do anything else. So it's not like you can go back to what you've just left, right? Because that door is now closed to you. So it's not like you can go back to just going to get a job and living a 9-to-5 kind of life, or in a conventional way. You're also not supposed to really strive, right? So a lot of people hustle in their businesses, but they're doing it from an old paradigm place. So hustle's not wrong and it's not bad, but you want your energy to be completely in alignment with that. And so that's what day 2 is going to be about tomorrow. And then the third thing is that if you have so much resentment, right, and most of it is unconscious, for the systems, for sales, for money, for offering your services, for looking at your own circumstances, or whatever kind of doubt or fear, or even reflected via your environment or the people around you, is distracting your focus, you're not going to really be enjoying life as much, and you're not going to feel lit up and turned on inside your business with your purpose, and B, you are not going to be doing what it is you came for, and you're not going to be expanding in your mission, right? And the people that I am talking to have a specific mission here on this planet, and what hurts you more than not just having clients, or or even having to survive, because you're used to that, you can do that, is not being fully lit up, not fully modeling what it is you actually came to teach. And so that's why it is one of my missions to help you get sales as fast as possible, but in an aligned way. Because if you're trying to get sales from your head space, you're just going to end up repeating the pattern. and you're going to have to go through a cycle of pain again. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But it could also cause you a lot more. It's not ideally what you really want. Right? It's not what the self-conscious wants. Right, so I'm just going to take a cup of tea, just going to take a sip. I am going live an hour earlier, and I'm learning how to promote this with the event link. I did it in my car this morning because I'm so good at that. And so I've seen people go from strength to strength. Right? I've seen coaches go from strength to strength in alignment with who they are and grow their business over time through following these simple strategies, but also through being themselves. And they are the happiest people that I've seen, right? And they're expanding, and they're really up leveling and really doing lots on the planet, right? Excuse me. They share their struggles as well, right? So it's not about being perfect, it's just about progress. And then I've also seen others that have a really big mission, they have a really big vision, but because they have trauma, or they're just born mavericks, and they know that a lot of this stuff is not real, right? A lot of it's like all made up. They try to do it alone because that's actually a trauma response. Very, try to be independent of it, or they judge themselves, so they operate a pattern of self-sabotage, or there's a part of them that ignores some of the stuff that they should be doing, and that's actually quite simple and easy to implement because they have this underlying, this unconscious resentment that flows through. So even if they do business strategy because consciously they know they need to do something, and even if they implement steps, their energy is closed, right? Their subconscious is closed, so it won't let them progress past where they need to be. And then on top of that, they spend all of their time trying to heal and trying to heal themselves, and that just creates more of that cycle of pain, more of that cycle of survival. And they get to a point where they just don't know what to do because they've been doing this for so long, right? They've been doing it for so long. And that's not how it was meant to be. That's not how it was designed. So, if you're living from paycheck to paycheck, or if you're worried about where your next client's coming from, or if you're, worried about how people are going to perceive you, or any of those kind of things, it's not enjoyable for you, and you're not living a passionate and purposeful life. And B, you're not trusting yourself to do whatever it takes, right, to walk the road. Right? I think Amanda Francis puts it as you're just walking it out, right? You're not actually making it happen. You're allowing it to happen through your intention and your focus. And so without that, you're not choosing your highest timeline because you haven't backed yourself. And it's not your fault, right? It's not your fault. And I've seen this over time with a couple of people in my environment recently. They're all different, actually. They're actually all in different countries as well, where they've stayed safe and they haven't trusted themselves, and they haven't taken big, bold action to really go all in, still kind of, toing and froing because of the way that they've been taught. And it's just causing them massive, massive pain. And they're kind of stuck in this loop of survival. And actually two of them made the decision to change it. And when I say they've made the decision, it starts in your energy first. So that's really what I wanted to kind of just, allow you to see exactly why this is something that can cause you unnecessary pain when you can be receiving with ease, right, with joy, through passion and play and pleasure, through your business, right, in the way that you're designed, that allows you to expand into your wider mission, because your business isn't the only mission, right? It's a vehicle. It's the most logical and easiest thing for you to come on board with, right? If you're always trying to manifest money through whatever channel it's supposed to come in from, that can actually get very stressful. Especially if your energetic set point isn't at that level, right? And not only that, you can manifest a huge amount of money. And let the sun's out now, it's brilliant. You can manifest a huge amount of money and not have the structure to maintain it or expand it. And we see this a lot with lottery winners. So they will win a huge amount of cash, and then within 3 years or less, they're back to their old identity. So, you really want to grow in alignment. You really want to have passion, play, and fun in your business. And you really, really want to be clear in your energy. So how do you do that, right? So the first thing that I would recommend is to go through a simple framework using your favorite clients, because here's the thing, you don't want to attract everybody into your audience. You're not here to serve the entire world. Right? There's enough to go around, right? I think it was Scott Oldford. I saw one of his posts the other day. Actually, I've read his new book as well, which hasn't been published yet, and it's friggin' amazing. It's so good. Anyway, so he talks about your micro niching, which I know a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs have a lot of resistance to. Here's a different way to look at it, right? When you're micro niching, you're not limiting the flow of people that come into your environment, and you're not limiting who can work with you. All you're doing is becoming a really clear channel for the people that you're meant to serve, right? So, I'm not meant to serve everybody, but anyone can come to me. And it also allows you to be 150% authentic. Because when you're wearing these kind of identities, right, where you're trying to people please a certain audience, or, you're unconsciously worried that you're going to lose clients, or you're unconsciously worried that you're not going to be successful, that's actually the energy that's flowing through you. Whereas if you show up with that energy of like, I've got this, I can be myself. I can serve. I am talented. I am so gifted. My clients get friggin' amazing results. And I love, love, love what it is I do. And I'm here for them. And I trust that that I'm open to receiving, right? That it's okay. I'm gonna have permission, right, to live and thrive and expand that mission so I can actually reach more people. So that's the first thing that I would advise you to do, is go through who have you worked with that is your absolutely favorite client. What was their pain? What was your process that you went through? What was the solution? And really get clear on that, because that will help you in all of your messaging, right? So I typically work with people that are coaches, right? That are healers, that are entrepreneurs of some sort, right? Or even if they're in a specific kind of job, it's their passion-based job, where they're able to really connect into their heart, really connect into what it is they love to do, and then show up as their joyous, authentic, deeply loving, right? Free-flowing selves. And receive all the goodness that is meant for them. So it's not just the fast sales that they get, right, in a way that gets them stability so that they can keep growing. It's also so many other areas of their lives. And if you're a healer or a coach, you'll know this, that when you work with someone, like literally every area of their life gets impacted. But you want to be really clear on what is your expertise and what is your focused message, because a confused mind won't buy, right? It just won't buy. And I guarantee you that you do have a focused message. And I know a lot of you work in the intangible, but here's the thing, right? It starts in the invisible. The energetic decision starts in the invisible, and then you enjoy it in the tangible. So everything you do will have some kind of tangible result. So if you look at some coaches, so if I look at, say, someone like Andrani Phillips, and she's beautiful. I've worked with her before, right? A few years ago when I was going through my stuff, she was my coach. And her message is clear and direct, and it's really around embodiment and activation, but it's clear around her marriage, right? If you look at anything that is going on inside of her container, it always comes back to that love relationship, right? If you look at someone like Deborah Fryer, right? She's amazing. She was also a coach of mine. She very much embodies money mindset, right? And you get everything else that you need to get out of that container, but her clear message is around writing your new money story, right? So that you can have it all, right? So you can have it all. Or if I look at someone like someone that I've been following recently, is two of my favorites, right? So there's Stella, I think her name's Grace. I'd probably have to look her up actually. And her messaging is so clear. She doesn't even have like, you know, kind of like bullet points. She doesn't start with like a real framed structure when you see the text, but her energy, her message, her confidence is so clear for who she's working with. It's so clear, right? So it gets to the people that she wants to reach, because those are the people she's meant to serve. I hope you're with me so far. Drop replay if you watch this on the replay, because I can't see anyone on live. That could just also be a delay in time. Facebook's quite interesting. You know, sometimes I have a reel and it'll say I have 5 views, and then I look at it in the morning and it's got 2,000 views, and I'm like, when did that happen? It's so funny. So that's the first key that you really want. So understand who you serve by looking at your favorite clients. Really, really get clear. And if you don't like the word micro niche, think of it more as your favorite clients that you want to serve over and over and over and over again. And those are the people that you grow and work and expand with throughout your entire life, right? Like, clearly you've got time in your life, so that might shift and change, but typically for a lot of people, it is people that are maybe just a few steps behind for you, or they can even be in front, right? But they know exactly what service you provide, and they're ready. They already know, right? Their soul's called them forward. Right? There's psychology, right? And then there's intuition. And I already know who I want to work with when I sign up to them. And yes, I have, you know, I am a human being, so I have psychology and I understand the unconscious. So even though I know how it works, I know exactly who I'm supposed to work with. And I don't have any issue with the psychology, because I know they want to help me, right? So the second thing that you need to get clear on is, why do you want to help them? And this will help you get clarity in your offer. Again, coming back to your favorite client, right? What results did they receive? What is the service you provide? And sometimes you might not even know how they got those results, right? But you know that they're going to get them, right? And so don't get hung up on the on how. You just have a simple framework, and I'll go through this more on Friday, of a simple framework of the steps that you can take to take them through that process. Now, for a lot of you that work in the quantum realms, that work with intuition, that work with modalities and things like that, where you know what they think they want isn't what they actually want, or you know that there's a belief there that they might be working through which is not connected to their current problem, you'll know how to shift and change that inside of your offer and your container to get them the result that they want. But you want to be able to have tangible and intangible results that can be measured, so that the brain has a point of reference and it knows it's making progress. Because the only job the brain has, the prehistoric brain, is to keep everything in homeostasis, is to keep everything the same. And this is typically when you have when you go through the process, you'll have 2 weeks and you'll be like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm getting so many results, right? And then by like the third week, things will start to slow down and it will be, this isn't working. Either you go into mania or you go into apathy and you're like, oh, I've made no progress. Nothing's happening for me. Why is this taking so long? Right? Those are the kind of thoughts that come through. But once you understand the process, you're able to hold your client through that creative tension so they can take small steps without going into mania, to actually allow that new set point to be created and held. So I will go into, I can't share everything with you, obviously, on this call, but I can share with you the key core components. So understand why you want to help them. So for me, you know, I really love the people that I work with. They're very, very heart-centered. They've been through a lot of the trauma already. They came in, they moved through it. They've built lives for themselves that are, you know, that they were told wasn't possible for them. You know, they've already gone up a lot against a lot of structures as it is. Excuse me. And they have a massive mission to deliver to humanity, as well as being able to look after themselves. So like there's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 key points there for me. One is I really love working with these people because they get the result right and fast. Right? They get it really fast. And second, they activate their joy. That it gives them permission to be themselves again. They're able to step into Thrival so that they can have the money and the clients that they love coming in to expand and really deliver all of what they came to do, because they are leaders. And then fourth, it's a win-win-win for everyone, right? It's a win for the client, it's a win for me, so I can expand my own mission, right? And it's a win for the collective as a whole, right? Maybe we should go and close the blinds. So really get clear on why you want to serve them, why you want to help them, because a lot of people will focus on the surface level. So they'll focus on the monetary target, or they'll focus on, I don't know what the boundaries are with the client or whatever, but it's in a way that's not clearly energetic and aligned, right? So that is that will really help you to love your clients, really love your clients, because sales is a sacred service. So we've been taught that, it's kind of ironic in a way, right? We've been taught that consumerism is bad, we've been taught that sales is bad, and yet we're oversold to all the time. Right? And we've been trained to be consumers, like, right? So for me, a consumer is someone who doesn't understand the value of what it is that they are purchasing. And I'm not just talking about with money, I'm talking about with time, I'm talking about with what you put in your body, I'm talking about with what you're listening to, all of those things that don't actually serve you. So coming back to my point, when you understand why it is you want to help them, and your intention is going to be pure. If you're an entrepreneur, a coach, or a healer, it's going to be a heart-centered, loving intention. You will start to realize that sales is a sacred service, and that actually you are meant to sell. And if you have a business and you're not selling in a heart-aligned way, then either you're going to get clients and then burn it all down at some point because you're kind of just in the old paradigm of working for money, or you're not going to get any clients and then your business will fold, right? That's kind of, it's one of those two things. So with my current client that I'm working with, you know, she is someone who is she's just amazing, right? She's a real trailblazer, and she's someone who hasn't had someone who can speak to her the way that I do, because typically the business coaches and things that she signed up with don't get her. They don't understand her journey, right? They probably had some kind of emotional support. They probably had some kind of financial support, but they don't understand what it was like for her. And so she receives their messages in a way that her subconscious doesn't know how to move past those things, right? So it's not that she hasn't been doing the work or anything along those lines. She has, totally. Like, she's done loads of work, she's invested in herself and all the rest of it. But she's my client because I can get her really simple steps, get her on the path really fast, and also let her see, give her the permission to stay in her authority, to stay in her authenticity, and to be completely lit up and be herself just as she is, right? And this is true for everyone, right? Nobody is broken. No one is broken. There's nothing to fix. The deconstruction comes from the layers of conditioning that sits on top of that. But you're a creator, so you're creating all the time in every single moment. So understanding how to get back to that state and create from that state is a little bit of a process, right? But you can start right now, right? You don't have to wait. So that was my second point. And then all of these things will lead to confidence in your offer. So as you get sales on board and you start to practice this more and more and more, you will see the results, the testimonials, you'll have proof coming in. But the other thing that I wanted to add just as like a final is you must have a minimum set point amount for your offer, right? And I know that there's a lot of pushback on this, on low ticket sales and creating what you want and going with whatever the idea or the inspiration is that's coming through. And I do agree with all of that. But I also know that if you don't have a minimum for your one-on-one clients, then you're actually probably operating some kind of unconscious sabotage, right? That is, just come out of the sun for a bit. That is, although I do like it, that's right. That is devaluing your work, right? Not your worth, your work. I mean, only you can devalue yourself anyway, right? But the power of your work is almost priceless. However, we live in a society of exchange that involves money and resources. So we must be able to work with that system to be able to make a difference, to be able to change it. And money is really is an energy. It's a neutral resource, however you think about it, right? If you think about it tangibly as paper or a digital format or whatever it is, it's literally an exchange. And the more value that you provide, the more that you receive. And when you understand that money is expanding and it wants to grow and it wants to do good things and it wants to circulate and things like that, your whole relationship with money will change. In a way where you won't actually be thinking about whether you can afford something or when you're waiting for the right time. And I'm not saying that you would go and spend in a way that's going to overwhelm you or stress you out, but you're going to stretch your energetic container, because you're going to get to a point where you're like, I've got this, right? The universe has got me. It's already done. It's set as an energetic decision. And then it happens, right? It's done. And then you move to your next energetic set point, staying in the structure. Now, I do invest with coaches and mentors. I was going to pull the blind down for a second. It's going to be too much longer. Oh, it's nice. It's very nice. There we go. Maybe I'll put the light on. So I do invest with coaches and mentors because I know the cost of not investing with them, right? I know the cost of trying to do it on my own for decades. I know the cost of living in limitation, right? I know the cost of not having true freedom, right? I know the cost of decline. I know it. I've been through it. I've been through it many times. But I also know the massive amounts of benefits I get when I work with coaches, mentors, and healers, and how much more rapid that progress is, and how much more I enjoy my life, right? And I can model this for other people too, because in truth, God only has good thoughts about you. He wants the best for you. Although you might have challenges to overcome, you're not supposed to suffer. You're supposed to thrive. You're, as a soul, as a human being on this planet, you're supposed to have the most delicious and beautiful experience here on this planet. And that is a big reason for why I'm here, and the driver for why I do what I do. And there's going to be something that's deep within you that's very similarly rooted. And so in order for you to participate, in order for you to make a positive impact, in order for you to positively influence the energy on this planet, you have to show up. You've got to be committed. You have to be all in, and you have to be willing to walk it out in this life, right? Which means moving away from those old familiar habits and stories and whatever that has been created in your own mind, to reclaim exactly what it is you came here to create. And it really, really is about love and connection. I mean, gosh, I could spend hours on here talking about my journey, but I won't. I don't wait. And so I'm just going to bring the focus back to that, right? The focus of getting clear in your energy with your client, with your services, with your offer, with who you are, right? And the way that you deliver that, the way that you can communicate that, the way that you can connect with them, the way that you can help them, the way that you can love them. Because this isn't simply a monetary exchange. It isn't, right? It really isn't. It's so much more than that. But keep the process simple so that you can really create a level of stability and thrive and expand and allow others to do the same. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I will make sure that I have a look at them. But I'm going to be back with day 2 around my structure, right? So my structure, so this is the first pillar of my structure. But I will be back tomorrow around, what was it? Really activating pleasure and joy and passion. Because if you don't have a fire that's lit within you, right, and you might have noticed I have a lot of fire in my chart. I talk about fire all the time because, you know, as a child it was really dampened down, but it's never gone anywhere. I'm still a rebel, I'm still a maverick, but it's not a negative thing. It's not derogatory, right? It's not to just be a maverick or a rebel for the sake of it. It's, you have a purpose with it. You have an absolute purpose with it. And I was kind of thinking about this today, right? When I was thinking about, you know, someone sent me a message and it said that the FDA are thinking of making homeopathic remedies illegal. Right? The fake Department of Authority who classified pizza as a vegetable are thinking of making it, right, making these things illegal. And the thing is, right, I'm the kind of person that says no, even though as a child, let's just say the consequences of that no weren't so pleasurable. Right? There wasn't such a great experience. But having a clear conscience and living in integrity as a maverick, as a rebel, is, again, it's not about anything negative or derogatory. It's really rooted in love, because you understand that love is more powerful than fear. And I'm not sure why I made that point, but there was a point to it. Clearly, right? About being you know, about being really solid in who you are and claiming it. Not everyone is going to resonate with this message. Not everyone is going to resonate with me, right? Not everyone is a maverick like myself. That doesn't limit them from coming into my environment, but I don't want people who don't want my services. I don't want to serve them in that way, right? As I do my work, there will be someone else for that person, right? So there is no limitation, really. There's not really even any competition. That's just more of a learning of how to really be yourself and stand out in the way that you were designed to be, which fills you up, because then you don't have any masks coming down, right? And so that is really, really important. Okay, I remember now because I have an amazing memory, right? Coming back to your passion, that fire, the thing within you that is going to be bigger than all of the excuses, all the familiar habits and patterns, all of the limitations that you see around you. And then what happens is, as you step into that frame, As you step into that level of influence, that new energetic container, things around you start to lift and shift, and you start to see more opportunities. You have more confidence in the process, and you have more confidence in yourself, but nothing is actually going to hinder your progress. Nothing is actually going to stop you anymore, right? You're learning as you move on the journey that you create all of it, right? You co-create all of it. And I'm not saying that in a way to make anyone feel shame or blame or guilt or frustration when they might look at their current or past circumstances. It's not like that at all. It's more understanding how creation works so that you have the awareness to go and create what is in alignment for you, right? And alignment is so key. I remember when I think when I started the journey, or even before that, I'd watch, I can't remember what show it was, right? It was on, because I don't really watch TV anymore, but it was on the E Entertainment Channel or something. And they used to go to these Hollywood houses, right? When they had these houses with swimming pools and basketball nets and all sorts of stuff, right? But now, like, I wouldn't want that. It's just not me. And I love clear open space. I love plants. I love land. But I love connecting with people, and I love people that have those things where I can go and use them and come back, and I don't have to spend any time maintaining them, right? I don't have to spend any time cleaning them or anything along those lines, right? And actually, my home is a base, but I spend most of my time outside. It's really fascinating. And I'm both introverted and extroverted too, right? So I like to have the balance of both worlds. So the reason why I'm sharing this, I will come in tomorrow and talk about this because I've already been on for half an hour. But just to give you a little bit about my story was, I think I've had different flavors of trauma throughout my life, and we all have trauma, right? So my dad left before I was born. My mum was a Guyanese immigrant in an upper white class area. We weren't really even considered Indian. A lot of people think I'm Spanish, which I possibly could be, who knows. And I was just like a real misfit. I really didn't fit anywhere. I didn't fit in with my family. I didn't fit in with my school. I didn't fit in with my upper white class environment, right? I just didn't fit in anywhere. And I was also a rebel and a black sheep of the family, so that was very confusing to me, right? So anyway, I did do all the things that I was told to do. I did get conditioned. I did make meaning out of my environment in that way, right? I had abandonment trauma, I had sexual trauma, sort of domestic violence a little bit, right? Miscarriages. I failed more times than I would have liked to be fair, right? And just the whole Caribbean environment of being beaten as a child, and that happens a lot in pretty much all Caribbean environments that I've worked across, or even Indian or Chinese. I've seen it a lot, right? So, and even with all of that, I still went and I got my education. That was a bit of up and down, but I got it. And I got my accountancy qualification. I got a corporate job, and I had a 4-bedroom house. And I had 2 cars, right? And I had kids, but I was dying on the inside. Like, I was really dying on the inside, and I started to have repetitive strain injury come up, and so I've been through 5 years of this transformation. When I found my purpose, or when I was woken up, when I was activated, and I followed it, because you have to choose it. It doesn't always choose you until you get to a level of pain, and some people don't even break that pain, right? But I found home. All right, I found home, and I know what it's like. And I went through so many different layers of deconstruction. I went really deep, y'all, really, really deep. And it was only when I started to switch on my pleasure, when I started to trust in myself, right? When I understood the season I was in, when I got clear on my messaging, because I had worked with so many people, that I started to attract clients. And I'm not talking about just anyone. I'm talking about people that were really soul aligned, right? People that were like me, that have you know, this really fiery kind of element about them, but they've dampened it down. Or they were really ambitious, and they're actually really, most of the women I work with are really shockingly beautiful. They really are. And when they sit in front of me and they're like, oh, you know, I don't know if anyone's gonna find me attractive, I look at them in complete amazement, like, what are you talking about? Right. So but they're real true leaders at heart, right? And their leader isn't someone who is in a position of authority that tells you what to do. That's not a leader. That's just someone with insecurity issues. Right? Not everyone's for me, right? But a leader is someone who basically models, who goes first, who's not afraid to fall flat on their ass, because they know that's part of the journey, right? That's part of the learning. And it's just going to get back up again, and it's going to try again because it's fun, right? It's not because they've failed. Failure is actually only when you give up. And so I am going to end this here. So those are the things that you need right now to get movement in your business, to get out there and bloody deliver your purpose, right? In the most loving way, in the way that lights you up, that is passionate and is also extremely smart, right? In a way that you're participating so that you can have those results. So my current client that I'm working with, we've only had 3 sessions, and she's already booked 15 sales calls. I'm not going to share the rest of it, right, because I'm nurturing that seed as we go through, but it's been pretty amazing, right? And so that's all you need. Sometimes there's a little tweak and a little refinement, and these people, these customers, these clients, they are waiting for you to step up in confidence, be crystal clear, and be like, I got this, I'm going all in. This is what I choose, because I'm a creator. I'm choosing. Even if I'm not choosing, I'm choosing, right? And so if I didn't do this, she would not be having the results that she's having, right? Which is ultimately going to make a massive difference, not just to her, but to all the people around her, to her clients, right? To the collective as a whole. And of course, it's not just my most recent client, it's my clients from before too. So if I hadn't stepped up in that way, then they would not have had the results that they've had either. Right? They wouldn't even know it's possible for them. So love your clients, get to know them, show up, be visible, offer, invite them, share value, let them know how you can help them. I do currently have an offer, but I'm going to go through that tomorrow on day 2. So lots of love to you. If you watch this, please let me know, drop a heart or something, and I'm going to get ready for my second training inside a group, which I have, which is all men, and I have no idea why that group is growing. I have no idea why I'm being called to share within that group, but I'm following my intuition anyway, right? And it is kind of fun. So I show up, right? I do what intuition says, and I also follow a core structure and framework that allows me to keep growing and discovering and serving and receiving. Receiving is so important, right? So important. In fact, that's probably I would say that's the number one issue in most of humanity, is that they don't know how to receive, because they've been taught that they are debtors rather than predators of the earth. I can really spend another 3 hours talking about that as well. All right, my loves, I will see you tomorrow back here for day 2, same time, and I will put a link up. All right, take care. Bye-bye.